Hello and howdy. My name is CC Hawkley, and that's my friend Scott McDonald, and we make up the Front Range Hockey Podcast. Welcome to the show, Scotty. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. I feel like it's been a while. I'm stoked to be back. I mean, I just feel like there hasn't been hockey in general. I guess there really hasn't. So
No.
I've been kind of laying low and living a pretty boring life, but excited to be back for sure.
Yeah. The Avs decided to take the week off. Not a planned vacation, that's for sure. But
Nope.
yeah, the last game that we recorded on was or the day that we recorded was April 14th, which was a Wednesday. And the Avs were slated to play the St. Louis Blues that night, and they did. They won 4-3 over St. Louis that evening, and then COVID-19 protocols happened, and 2 games against the LA Kings and 1 game against the Blues were canceled because some players got COVID and everything. But yeah,
It's the sad reality of the the situation. Like that's the Avs. I mean, it happened obviously a month ago or whatever, month and a half, however long it was. The Avs and the Wild had to shut things down for a week or 10 days or whatever it was, but they're in the clear, until recently. And luckily, it's a much smaller outbreak. It's only 2 people. I know Mikko Rantanen was on it, but I think that's just contact tracing protocols.
That's
so
what I heard. Yeah.
He should be able to rejoin the team if he tests negative again. I guess the second game in Vegas, I think so, like Wednesday or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, and everyone talked about it in the press conferences too. Like, it was like, which way are you looking at this? Like, was this a nice break, or was this you guys were rolling and now it's kind of an unfortunate situation that like all that momentum came to a screeching halt when everything's shut down and you can't practice and you can't play games. And yeah, pretty much everyone erred on the side of like, this sucks. Like, I mean, it's not really in it. Like we're pretty healthy right now. We didn't need this break. Like the first break, with the Wild outbreak, they said that was great because he had a bunch of injured players and it gave them, a week or so to rest up. But they're like, we were, firing all cylinders. Everyone's pretty healthy. So this kind of sucked, and we'll see what happens. I guess practice wasn't too great when they came back, which is to be expected when the legs aren't there and you take some time off and you can't even go to the gym or anything. So we'll see what kind of performance we get out of the Avalanche tonight, I guess.
Well, yeah, Bo Byram's coming back tonight, right?
I don't know. Is he? I don't think so.
I thought he was cleared. That's what I thought was.
So I think he's cleared, but he's still. I think he's still just practicing.
Okay.
So Patrick Nemeth, I think, is making his Avalanche re-debut, if that's a thing. But I think Byram has said that he's going to be a couple more days. I don't know if he's like just physically. It's been a while since he stepped on the ice, so I think he just now resumed skating and practicing. And Bednar said he's not quite there yet. So we shall see.
That works. At least he's on the healing road, and
confirmed
the
he's not in.
road.
Sorry.
Okay, confirmed. No, you're fine. You're fine.
I had to double check. I was like, did they say something like in the press conference this morning? Like,
I thought I read that. I thought I saw.
I was busy doing something for my other job and kind of just like listening in one ear, so maybe I missed it. But yeah,
no, you're good. You're good, man. The joys of having a day job as a hockey analyst.
It's tough sometimes.
Oh yeah, I get it. And hosting 2 podcasts, and it's co-hosting rather. I'm not the only host.
You're a busy guy yourself for sure.
I am. I get it. I totally get it. Well, I mean, I know that we covered this last episode, but thank God that the Avalanche acquired Devan Dubnyk, because even if it is a positive COVID test, you've got a quality netminder, 34-year-old Devan Dubnyk, that Avs fans grew to hate when he played for the Minnesota Wild, and now he's an Avs member, and everyone's all like, I don't know how I feel about having to like this.
Yeah,
it's like
I think I tweeted that as soon as he went out with COVID protocol and tested positive. Philip Grubauer, that is. I was like, hey, you guys are all about to be Devan Dubnyk's #1 fan. I know how all Avalanche fans feel about him, but it's like, look, I mean, this guy's he's the only option right now. So, and he's honestly, he's a genuinely nice guy. Like I just growing up in this environment, I guess for the past few years, just being on this Avalanche beat, you kind of grow to appreciate the hatred, I guess, and the disdain for Devan Dubnyk and some of the antics he's pulled over the past few years with the Avalanche. And that first press conference is like, wow, this guy's really nice. He was talking about how his kids Someone asked him about his mask and his helmet, and I guess on the back he always of all the teams he's played for, he makes it a habit to like draw their or like have caricatures or whatever of like his children on the back of his helmet, and
Oh, that's neat.
then mention he's like, yeah, this time like me and my kids thought it'd be fun, and like they're big Avengers fans, so like they're all dressed up as like Avengers, like one's Iron Man, one's the Hulk, and one's something else. I don't know, but I was like, man, this guy's like really funny. Like he's like a funny guy and just like talks genuinely. Like he doesn't give those just basic PR like BS, boring sports answers. Like he like really speaks from the heart, and that's something I appreciate as a media member, and I'm sure you do as well. It's it's nice to get players to like kind of open up, and this being his first press conference, whatever that was a week or so ago when we got to talk to him, I was like, I mean, he's very open to us already, and he couldn't be happier to be an Avalanche. Like he's like it still sounds weird that you say Avalanche goaltender. Like that sounds so bizarre to me, and I'm sure it sounds bizarre to all of you. But like I'm so damn excited to be here. Like I mean, he went from a team that had zero chance of making the playoffs to now he's playing for the team that's has the best chance to win the Stanley Cup right now. So I mean, how could you not be excited if you're him? And then Avalanche fans should be excited as well.
Yeah, and I know, Scott, I was texting you after Dubnyk was acquired by the Avalanche, and I told you a little personal anecdote of the first time I saw Devan Dubnyk in net professionally.
Way back in the day.
Was in 2006 when he played for the ECHL's the Stockton Thunder. I don't know why I was thinking Bakersfield, another former ECHL market, but the Stockton Thunder versus the Idaho Steelheads there when it was called the Bank of America Center. A couple naming rights ago for that arena. Now it's called Idaho Central Arena, but November 10th, 2006, and that was the same year that the Idaho Steelheads won the Kelly Cup. So you had some big names on there for sure on that Steelheads roster. But I was just going through my ticket stubs a year or two ago from old Steelheads games, and I found that one. I looked it up on ECHL.com and was like, all right, well, let's see if there's any notable players. And of course, the Steelheads roster I noticed because, like I said, that was a Kelly Cup winning roster, and I noticed a lot of names from there. And but in net for Stockton was Devan Dubnyk, and Devan Dubnyk gets the win. 44 saves on 47 shots on goal, only allowed 3 goals. That game went to overtime. Steve Silverthorne in net for the Idaho Steelheads stopped 33 of 37 pucks, but that was the first time I saw Devan Dubnyk was in Boise, Idaho, in the ECHL, his only season in the East.
Crazy, yeah.
Yes, but
quite a full circle now. Like that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
it's completely crazy. The hockey world is super small, and you're gonna have little coincidences like that for sure. It was just, telling you that story. I'm like, boy, this is a neat story because now he's an Avalanche goaltender, and here we go. Blues and Avs starting at 6 tonight because we're live on YouTube. It is Thursday night, April 22nd, 2021. And like I said, this is episode 15 of Front Range Hockey. And we'll try and get Scott out of here in a timely fashion and not have to keep him here through the first period like we did last game against St. Louis. So we'll make that a point and make sure that doesn't happen. So, Logan O'Connor, is he give us a little update on LOC.
So he's back in skating, which is good. I thought it was going to be a little bit longer than, I guess he's been out for a couple of weeks, but I thought it might be, a tad bit longer with, I think it's a lower body injury, but he's back and he's been skating apparently before the COVID shutdown. It's kind of just like a secret hush skating on his own kind of thing. But it sounds like he's pretty close to coming back. I think he's on the road trip. So there's a chance that he could play, which is great, just in time for the playoff push here. They need a guy like that's all heart and soul like him. And then I think we have a question I'll kind of allude to like later on in the podcast. But it talks about who would we have with a healthy lineup, or like who would I select as a fully healthy Avalanche lineup in the playoffs, and like Matt Calvert and Logan O'Connor are both on there. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But sounds good. Sounds like he's coming back and should be playing. Probably the same time I would assume Mikko Rantanen comes back.
Yeah, and I noticed that, of course, Liam O'Brien, we've talked about him the past couple episodes being a bit of much needed grit and sandpaper guy for the Avalanche. That definitely wasn't something that came into my head, and I know we've covered this ground, but Liam O'Brien coming up and being, the tough guy for the Avs wasn't something that I thought when he signed from Hershey. He spent a number of years in Hershey being that guy. And I don't believe the Capitals ever really utilized him. So I had it in my mind that, okay, he's just kind of this top tier AHL player that can, put the puck in the net and, and do that thing. And he comes to Colorado. And then as we're talking about this all season long, like who's going to be that guy to go up against the Alexiaks of the world? If you want to use that Dallas series
Right.
for an example, it's like Liam O'Brien's that guy, that fiery, feisty redhead. Cody McLeod vibes, anyone? Sorry.
Yeah, less goonish for sure, but
yeah, I'll give you that.
kind of in the same vein, same kind of player. And
Sure.
that's another question too. I think someone asked, later on who's the best fighter on the team, and we'll just get that question out of the way now. I guess that's who I would say. Liam O'Brien. He's been in a couple fights since he's been called up, and the players, the guys love him in the locker room, and he's like really gelling with those guys, which is awesome. And obviously it's showing because the Avs have kept him up for a few games now, a dozen games, whatever it is. And usually a guy like him is kind of just like a one and done call up, just something to inject some spunk in the lineup, I guess. But he's sticking around because it's a testament to the players like him. He's a confident guy, and he's a good player. Like, he's not just a goon. He makes hits and he makes physical plays when it needs to happen, and he's willing to stick up for players when it needs to happen and his teammates. And he can also make plays. Like, he's a very more talented of a stick handler and shooter than you might expect for a guy with his frame. And we saw in the AHL, like he's scored a few goals, and he's like you said, a top tier AHL player. And the Avs need someone like that who can play with the puck and also who can stick up for himself and for his teammates. And he's that guy. So I love what he's bringing to the table so far.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had the answer right underneath our nose as we're like, oh, they're going to pick up some grit at the trade deadline. They had it.
Yeah.
They brought him up. They were excited about what they saw in Loveland, and they just went from there. On emergency loan to the Avs, Connor Timmins and Kiefer Sherwood as well. So, of course, with the COVID-19 guys that are out, you bring in Sherwood, you bring in Timmins, and go ahead.
Well, so I think Timmins is playing tonight, actually. So he'll be in the lineup. So he's playing alongside Patrick Nimitz. So that should be an interesting combination. I think Jacob McDonald's the one that's out. Now, we didn't really get a detail on why that is, but probably, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So Patrick Nimitz, now that, that veteran guy, it's back in the lineup, I think we've probably seen the end of Jacob McDonald, maybe. Just don't need him anymore, unfortunately. And that's that depth, it's unfortunate. He's playing very, very well and deserves to stay in the lineup, but it's, you get a veteran like Patrick Nimitz at the trade deadline, and it's just a natural, replacement option. And he's got the playoff experience and the team experience. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I mean, honestly, it's Connor Timmins. Like, I'm excited to see what he's, going to have. It's been a while since we've seen him, and all reports have been good at the AHL level, and, they're willing to give him a shot again to get back in the lineup here. But if he doesn't play too well, then, maybe he flip-flops with Jacob McDonald, but we'll see. I'm rooting for Connor Timmins. It's time for him to step up. And as we're getting here towards the end of the season and into the off season, it's like, you gotta prove your worth. There's, a lot coming up the pipeline. And, again, this team is deep. We can't say it enough. We say it all the time, but it's like, he's one of those guys. It's like, he might be, trade bait down the road if he can't, find a spot. And it's not his fault. Like, if he just can't find a spot in the lineup because, it's so replete with defensive talent, then that's just the unfortunate reality. But the Avs could probably get a solid return for him, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. I know a lot of Avs fans are very partial to him, and they know his story, and he's a great kid, and they want to see him succeed here in Denver. But time's ticking, he's running out of time a little bit, and he's got to start proving himself.
Yeah, and he is in his contract year, that last year of his entry level deal. So it reminds me of why, and we talked about this last episode, why the Avalanche included Josh Dickinson in a package to the Chicago Blackhawks to bring Carl Soderberg back. Big old Carl, as it were. And funny story. So I went to Indianapolis this past weekend to cover the Indy Fuel at the Fort Wayne Comets, rather. That's not a plural word. Blah.
Oh,
Yep. My tongue's getting a little tied. Come on, let's bring it back. We're gonna have a drink of tea here. Hang on. All right,
There he
there we go.
is. Okay.
There it. I've returned. I've returned from my journey from
You look
Shangri-La.
stronger. You do. Yeah,
Oh,
you look brighter.
yes.
Good.
Yeah, but thanks.
You're glowing now all of a sudden.
You're glowing. You have an aura that is, visible to my naked eye. What is happening? No. It reminds me, Josh Dickinson, like I said, got traded to the Chicago Blackhawks organization. So he was supposed to make his debut on Thursday night. Indy was hosting, I believe, the Fort Wayne Comets on that Thursday. Their Zamboni breaks down and dumps hot water all over the ice. And yeah, it just completely wrecks the ice. And, they had to say that they were unable to play about 3 hours before the game. So Josh Dickinson was supposed to make his debut the Saturday that I covered the game. I'm doing a real neat feature story on one of our photographers for Full Press Hockey who hadn't shot a game in 405 days. Over 13 months, she had not shot a pro hockey game. And she got the chance to do that with a lot of former players that played in the Manchester Monarchs or the Manchester, New Hampshire market with the Monarchs in the ECHL before they folded a couple seasons ago. Long story short, Josh Dickinson, longtime Colorado Eagles and Utah Grizzlies guy for 3 years, gets traded. He's on the last year of his ELC as well. He makes his Indy Fuel debut on that Saturday night. So stay tuned, Colorado hockey fans, because Kristen got a lot of good shots of Dickinson making his debut for the Indy Fuel. I know a lot of fans out there still got a soft spot for Dickinson. So totally. Yeah. But that kind of reminds me, okay, Connor Timmins, clock is ticking, ELC, granted, can't do anything at the trade deadline because that is come and gone, but he is in the last year of his ELC as well. And that kind of segues. If you do you have any more Avalanche news or anything you wanted to cover, Scott?
No, outside of, Martin Kaut is back in the lineup tonight. So that's
okay.
That's going to be, he's excited. I know he is. Like I just weird timing. It's happened a few times. I've published a story and then, a couple of days later, these guys get a shot. And it was good timing on that. I just talked to Coach Cronin about it. And he's like, yeah, he's a much more confident player. And, he's playing with that physicality that we want to see. And cause he's projected to be kind of a third or fourth line guy. And I've talked to Martin Kaut about it before. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I need to play like Matt Calvert if I'm going to make this Avalanche team because they're so deep. And then today, in his little press conference after morning skate, he kind of said the same thing again. He's like, I mean, my goal is obviously I want to stay up here in the NHL, but he's like, I know how deep this team is, so I just have to go out there and kind of prove myself. And I think he's frustrated at times and has been frustrated at times about just how deep this team is, and he's a former first round pick, so I think he feels like he should have been in the NHL by now, but the Avs just being so deep as they are, they could afford the chance to kind of go slow with him, I guess, and that's the option they chose to do. So he's been in the pro ranks for 3 years now and has kind of gotten a shot here and there, and I think this will be his 11th game, maybe something like that in the NHL, and I'm excited to see he's going to bring it. When I went down there for Alex Newhook's debut, honestly, I noticed Martin Kaut more than I noticed Alex Newhook. And it's just great to see after, I've covered him since his rookie season in the pros, and you could see the growth and the maturity. And, he's playing, he forechecks, he back checks, he's getting used to the North American style of play and the style that the Avalanche want him to play as a third or fourth line kind of guy. And I think he's going to be a great fit. And again, he seems more confident and he's been more consistent throughout the season, and the points are coming. He scored 14 points in 13 games with the Eagles this year. And, it's a testament to that hard work and effort he's putting in. And it's I think he's starting to make that connection where, if I grind and I forecheck and I back check and I play, the way I should be playing and the way that Coach Cronin's been telling me to play for the last 3 years, the points come. It's crazy how that works. So I think that's why they're giving him, the chance. It's finally all connecting for him. And, Bednar said he's heard nothing but good things. And Joe Sakic's been down there a few times watching all the games and watching all the away games online too. And he said he's a guy that's really stuck out, all season long that he's been playing at least. And I'm excited to see what he brings tonight. And, it could be, especially with, Logan O'Connor coming back. I think he's slotted in on that fourth line right wing where Logan O'Connor would be. So who knows, I think he'll be the guy for a while until OC comes back. If he plays well enough, it might be one of those situations where it's well, now we have to force OC on the bench and put him on the taxi squad. And, I think that's Martin Kaut's goal, and we'll we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to see what he brings.
Goodness, it's boy, it's quite a. I say it all the time on the show, spoiled for riches. Because it's to have a quote unquote problem like that. Oh well, you've
Good
got
problem to
Martin
have.
Kaut. It's a good problem to have. Oh, Martin Kaut. Oh, Logan O'Connor. Who's a. I mean, you've got serviceable guys, more than serviceable guys that are in there and an opportunity to show their stuff and everything. And like you said, Scott, before, confidence is key with Martin Kaut. And the fact that, he's getting that other shot and getting that other chance to come up to the NHL level rather, and really, come in there with a head of steam and everything like that. It's going to be an exciting game to watch tonight. Unfortunately, I'm going to be busy with, recording the Calder Farmstead, another podcast. Yeah. Because, that's something that, I'm a busy guy. And so then you cover the Avs. So you gotta jump off for that as well. But we found a little time to go live and to cover this and everything. But
yeah.
No, last time I saw Kaut was on the taxi squad. And so to have him up and getting a chance to start tonight, that's huge. That's a good thing. So
yeah. Exciting day for the kid.
Yeah, exactly. And wasn't it in his first game that he saw that he scored? He scored a goal in his first game, or was that like the second?
I don't think so. It was like it was like 1 through 3 somewhere in there. I don't think it was his first game, but yeah, game 2, 3, maybe 4. He scored, and I still remember that celebration. It was nuts. Like you could just see the emotion. I don't know who took the picture. It might be an Ashley Potts picture. If you're listening, Ashley, well done. But I don't know if it was. But yeah, it's just like a great, snapshot of him just like eyes closed, like looking like he was honestly about to cry. Like just, knee on the ground, fist pumping when he scored that first one. It was probably just such a relief for him. And obviously scoring your first NHL goal is huge all the time. And it's a big moment for all these guys that have dreamed of making it to the NHL their entire life. And, that's that I made it moment where you score a goal in the National Hockey League and
right
at home, no less in front of a sold out crowd of Avs fans. Like it's gotta be, a powerful moment. So hopefully there's plenty more of those, fist bumps. Like he's a guy that he's not bashful when it comes to celebrating. It never has since he's been, 3 years in the AHL, the NHL, we've seen a couple of his celebrations. He's a guy that it's like, he just scored the cup clinching goal every time he scores. And it's awesome. You don't see that much like emotion and passion. And it just goes to show like how bad this kid wants it and always has wanted it. So hopefully he uses that to, kind of fuel him and earn a spot on the roster. But I think next year I think he's a guy that can slot in next year and be a full-time player. And I'm expecting him to. So this is kind of, an audition, I guess.
There you go. Yeah. It's a good opportunity when things aren't going well. It's often how it happens in sports. You have an injury. I don't know why, as a Denver Broncos fan, I'm thinking Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. But that's the first thing that came to my mind is, Bledsoe gets injured, Brady comes in, and the rest is history and continues to be history. Unfortunately for Denver fans, but actually Denver performing pretty well against New England in the postseason. That's the thing is like, Tom Brady's kind of hated around here, but I digress. That's not the point of this podcast. This is a hockey podcast. Yeah. Anyway, so let's start talking about the Colorado Eagles. We mentioned Kaut, we mentioned Logan O'Connor. A lot of these former Eagles guys getting chances with the Avalanche. Kiefer Sherwood's up right now. But on the taxi squad, you've got Adam Warner, Keaton Middleton, Daniel Renouf, Mika Salamaki, and Kyle Burrows. Currently on the taxi squad, and Kaut's listed on there too, but obviously that's not a thing because he's making his start tonight. So yeah. But yes, the Eagles, after having a good month of April so far, taking 3 out of 4 games against the Texas Stars in Loveland, and then also hosting Bakersfield for a quick rescheduled 2-game set. Baco trading 6-2 games. Baco wins 6-2 in Alex Newhook's debut. I mean, there was 3 rookies, so it took me a second.
Right.
Alex Newhook's debut, 6-2 lost to Bakersfield, and then they come back the next evening and they win 6-2. So
Newhook gets his first goal and assist.
Yes, he does. Yes,
Same
he
period.
Does. Yeah.
Why couldn't you done that the night before, my man? It's like when I was actually there.
Right.
But
He knew.
all
He's
right,
like, Scott McDonald's in the stands. I can't give him anything to run with. He's on a
yeah,
special beat. So
that
we'll wait one
bastard.
night.
That's all right. Nah, congrats to him. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
And that's the thing is you have, Nate Clerman debuting. No, I didn't get to see his debut. I got to see Sampo Ranta's debut. But yeah, Nate Clerman debut. And then you had Sampo Ranta debut, and then you had Alex Newhook debut, all within like the span of a week. And Newhook and Ranta have really impressed in their debut games and beyond, because like we said, he didn't score in his debut. Alex Newhook didn't, but a goal and an assist in 2 games played for Newhook. He played that Baco, 2-game set, 4 games played. And so, finally, the Eagles have some legit rookie, kind of relief coming in when the heavy hitters go up to the taxi squad. And yeah, they're getting some relief, and they don't have to go down to ECHL Utah, to bring up other forwards and guys for some scoring support now. I mean, Ranta and Newhook, it's a very, very limited sample size, but it's looking promising. And especially the Eagles also play tonight, a rare Thursday game for the Colorado Eagles. Normally they play the Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays, and they did a Saturday, Sunday against Texas when they were here this month. But yeah, the also common Thursday, Friday, Sunday set for Tucson. No, yeah, Thursday, Friday, Sunday set in Tucson there in Arizona. So yeah, I mean, it's a good harbinger, I think, that these guys are starting to produce points right off the get and right off the bat. Nate Clerman, more, defenseman, so you don't expect him to put points on the board necessarily. But Newhook and Ranta, they're doing their thing.
Yeah, no, it's exciting times in Loveland, and we've said it before. Obviously, no fans can go to the games, but the AHL TV, they're running a great deal on single team packages for the rest of the season, and I think they have a dozen games left, something like that, maybe less. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, like, get your eyes on some of these kids. Like, it's pretty exciting, and Jean-Luc Foudy is like another guy that normally you wouldn't see at the AHL level, but we get to see him because the OHL canceled their season recently, so he's here for the rest of the season, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you got Alex Newhook, former first round pick. Martin Kaut, obviously he's playing for the Avalanche now, but there was at one point in the game that I went to in Newhook's debut, a power play unit of Shane Bowers, Alex Newhook, and Martin Kaut, like all former first round picks that are going to play for the Avalanche here soon. It's exciting. This is probably the most talented roster that the Eagles have had, just stocked with first round prospects and things like that. It's kind of tough because it's maybe not showing on the record as far as how good this Eagles team is, but it's a testament to we've talked about it before. The taxi squad. You just listed off the taxi squad members that are there right now, and that's a lot of their goal scoring depth and a lot of talented players there. So it's tough when you got guys coming in and out of the lineup, but right now at this present moment, not on the taxi squad is the likes of Shane Bowers and Sampo Ranta and the local kid Nate Clerman, and it's it's a lot of fun right now to watch Eagles hockey, and who knows how much longer they're going to be there. Like these guys might challenge for a spot on the NHL roster next year.
That's very true. And also failed to mention, guess who was relegated to the Eagles roster today? Liquid Hot Magna. Jason Magna coming back to the Eagles roster. I love doing that. I can't help. I am a cheese ball. You can't deny it. But yes.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Jason Magna coming back to the roster tonight. I'm looking at the Eagles and seeing if they've put out a starting lineup. Doesn't look like it currently, but yeah, let's take a look at the active roster real quick. And Adam Werner being up on the taxi squad, you still have Parker Gahagen on the Eagles roster. So I'm guessing it's going to probably be Miska and Gahagen as the 1-2 in net tonight. So, and yeah, you still have guys like Sheldon Dries, Mike Vecchione, Alexander Fortan. And you've also got, the rookie guys, of course, Riley Woods, Luca Berzan, Cal Burke, Jean-Luc Foudy, as we've mentioned a number of times. And yeah, you've also got Dennis Gilbert over on defense, him being back and being with the Eagles has been a huge benefit as well. I saw that in the Texas game. And then, of course, you've got, the kind of fringe Colorado, Utah guys, Peter Tischke, Kevin Davis. And then Klerman, you add him in there. Ian Scheid is having a great rookie season. And yep, there it is. Hunter Miska and Parker Gahagan going probably, like I said, 1-2 tonight in Tucson there on your typical Thursday night fare for the Colorado Eagles. Less than typical, rather. But yes. So, yeah, the Eagles, they've got their work cut out for them. We got a lot of questions tonight, so we're just going to keep on trucking. Let's talk collegiate. And real quick, the Colorado College Tigers lost their captain to transfer. Now, guess who else lost their captain to a transfer? Denver.
The
Denver lost Pioneers.
Quite a few guys, actually. Quite a few key members. Well, I mean, so yeah, Cohen Olszewski, the senior captain of the DU Pioneers this past year, he transferred to Providence. Mm-hmm. You got Griffin Mendel, who was I think his roommate and like best friend and assistant captain, defenseman as well. He transferred to Quinnipiac. And then they lost some other Steven Jandrick as well. Grad transfer to Merrimack. So they lost some talented guys. One on forward, one on defense, and it's gonna be a tough blow. But I mean, I don't think they're really expecting him to stay. They're both seniors, so I think they're just taking that extra year of eligibility or whatever it is that's allowing them to play another year and deciding to go elsewhere. So they're letting the young kids kind of step up and. It might be a tough year next year. I mean, we'll see what talent they can bring in, but this is kind of the same thing that happened, last season. Is they lost their captain and they lost a lot of really, really good seniors who have been contributing, and kind of the same thing just happened. A lot of guys graduated, and now we got a couple of key guys transferring. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of season they have next year, and it's up to the kids. It's gonna be a young freshman sophomore team, and we'll see what they can bring.
Yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that a little bit more next year because the schedule will be a little more normalized and we can actually do that.
Hopefully,
hopefully, yeah, for sure. But speaking of schedule, the NCHC released their 2021-22 hockey schedule. So first and foremost, DU is going to be starting out their season on the road in Grand Forks against the University of North Dakota, November 5th and 6th. That's a Friday-Saturday set. Of course, all times are TBD rather, to be determined. And so Colorado College opens up their season and their brand spanking new Robson Arena there on campus against St. Cloud State that same weekend, that November 5th and 6th, Friday, Saturday. So maybe I might have to swing a press pass and go check out the Colorado College home opener there, and brand new home opener. And we'll see if we can get in there and get a press pass for that. Cause that would be quite, it's given me the original Broadmoor World Arena vibes, like just the style of the arena. It's not quite. I think
that's what they're kind of modeling it after.
Yeah. And so it's got me a little bit nostalgic because I saw the last game at the original Broadmoor World Arena, and so to see the first game at Robson Arena, that would be something.
Awesome. Yeah, that
would be something. I'm getting a little emotional just thinking about it because my dad ties into that, and he passed 5 years ago, so. I'm not going to cry. We're going to move on. We're going to keep talking college hockey. We're going to maintain our composure here. Air Force Academy, their schedule hasn't been released yet. So there's that. So I had to build it up and anticlimactic.
Tear it down. Yeah.
Tear it down. So there you have it. That's our collegiate touching on them during the off season. And we need to get to asking the feed because we've got about 14 minutes before the game starts and the puck drops.
Questions. Well, we did answer a couple of them, kind of already, but
yeah. Okay. Well, let's go through it and check it out. I got to pull up full Front Range Hockey, the account here, and scroll down because there's a lot of folks. You're like, hey, we got 30 minutes, and everyone's like, questions.
Yeah, I was worried. So I sent one out like an hour or two ago and got like one. I was like, come on now. This is usually people are better about, asking questions. So I just threw out one a few minutes before recording, and sure enough, hit the
And
sweet spot of people getting off work and
of course,
logging
yep.
onto their Twitter accounts. We got a bunch all at once. So
Well, and you got those scheduled tweets too that you're just like, all right, I know the times. And
yeah,
yep, like you
yeah,
said, hit the sweet spot for sure. First and foremost, Karen Sherritt at Karen Sherritt 4. She gets points because she was submitting a question in the first go around. So she gets
yes,
extra points. Way to go,
yes.
Karen. Who do you see from the Eagles staying in the lineup for the Avs? And we did kind of cover that, in regards to Martin Kaut, LOC, maybe, well, not Jacob McDonald so much anymore with the Nemeth acquisition, but Scott, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like going into the playoffs, who I think will stay, I think it's going to be Logan O'Connor. I'm not sure how many other Colorado Eagles might be in there,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think OC or bust, and on that fourth line once he gets healthy. But as far as they're going to bring a bunch of people in their taxi squad. I'm sure Jacob McDonald will be on there. Connor Timmins, if he's not on, so when Bo Byram comes back, I'm sure Connor Timmins is probably gonna have to step out, or someone is. It just kind of makes sense that he'll be the guy to do that. But he'll probably go to the taxi squad as well. So I think they're going to bring a lot of Eagles with them. But as far as active roster, playing on the ice, I think Logan O'Connor is the only guy that's really ready for playoff hockey at the moment.
Thank you for the question, Karen. We always appreciate it. Next question, a little bit lighter fare. I do enjoy these questions, though. We've got Anthony at Vegas Avs fan. Favorite Mortal Kombat character or characters? There is a parenthetical.
I'm gonna defer to you on this one. I never really played Mortal Kombat. I know.
Really?
I was a Super Smash Bros. Guy. That was kind of my.
Oh, okay.
My
that was kind of
game,
that was your pay. That was your speed of game. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will gladly answer this question because I remember being 8 years old. Yes, a violent game as Mortal Kombat. I was an 8-year-old. I had an older stepbrother. I had 2 older stepbrothers for a while there, and they brought home Mortal Kombat. And so OG Mortal Kombat, I'm gonna have to say Sub-Zero, because there was only like 6, 7, 8 characters that you could play with on that first Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat. So
no.
OG, I'm going to say Sub-Zero, but later on, as the series went on, I'm going to say Cyrax, because I don't know, something just drew me to the whole cybernetic ninja sort of guy. And he shot this really weird green web from his chest to, entrap the opponent, as it were. And so
I wish I knew what you were talking about. I have no idea. I was like, what are these names? What are these powers? Okay.
What is happening? Yes.
Yeah.
So me as a 34-year-old male, definitely growing up in the Super Nintendo generation, those two, Sub-Zero and Cyrax, are my favorite Mortal Kombat characters. So thank you, Anthony, for a little throwback and a little nostalgia there. And I'm sorry that Scott couldn't participate in that. Scott, who's your favorite Super Smash Brothers character?
I'm glad you asked. I was going to say, I was like, I'll give you like that, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, I was big Mr. Game & Watch guy. I know he's not a very popular one, but yeah, actually went to a tournament one time, did not do well. So we won't talk too much about it, but I thought it was great. It's just like I spent like probably an entire summer, me and my best friend back in the day, Joey. I would just go to his house every single day. I think this was like in high school, like a high school summer, just nothing else to do. And yeah, we just played nonstop for every day for, like a few months. And I feel like we got pretty good, that way. And I thought I could compete. So we saw there was a local tournament here in Denver, and did not do well. I don't think I won a single game. My day was over pretty quickly, but still had a good time. Sure. Yeah, I like to think I'm good in some, circles, but I'm not, that good apparently. So
hey, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's all right. I'm again OG Super Smash Brothers Nintendo 64. Samus is my gal.
Okay.
So and still to this day, I'll play Smash Brothers with my buddy Justin JV, who made our logo. I've played Smash Brothers with him, and he kicked my ass. So he is
nice.
He's a great Super Smash player. But anyway, thank you again for that question. That was a neat little diversion there. But back to hockey. Alex Dagner at Alex Dagner 2. Assuming a 100% healthy lineup, Sans Francois and Johnson, as we know, they're both out for the season. LTIR, that's for sure. What is your anticipated lineups probably Maybe voice to text error there for game 1 of our first round series against whoever. I'm guessing. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of players to try and conjecture. You know,
Like, damn, I could
try. Yeah,
well,
go
obviously
for
the
it.
top line's not changing. It's going to be,
Landy,
Mac, Renton,
Mac.
and
Yep.
second line. It recently changed. So Sod got demoted to the third line, but I think they're just trying to get Nazem Kadri going because Coach Bednar kind of talked about that today after morning skate that they got to get Kadri going. He's not, playing that well recently, and he said he's trying to get too fancy at times. So I think they're just trying to switch up the vibe, if you will, on that line a little bit. And I guess that's probably why they did it. But I would put that second line back together. They've been playing together all season long. It's Burakovsky, Kadri, and Sod on the second line.
Okay.
Third line, I think you got Soderberg, Nichushkin, and then Tyson Jost.
No,
I'm going to go JT.
Do you call
I'll say Tyson
goals
Jost
now?
No, I'll say Tyson Jost because they've been playing really, really good. And then fourth line's tough because, if Calvert comes back, then obviously he's coming in.
Yeah.
But, I guess I would put JT Comfer. Bellemare would be there. And then it's a toss-up between, O'Connor or Calvert. So that's my lineup.
There you go. And that answers our next question, too, from Steph Dog. Want us to give a shout-out to Steph Dog at AvsNut238. They said, hey, bud, if you're coach, what's your playoff roster looking like if everyone is healthy? If everyone is healthy, not including EJ, I think Calvi will be back, ? I'm Ron Burgundy. But yes, so Steph Dog, we answered your question too. So there you go. Who is the best matchup for the Avs in the first round? Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not Vegas. I mean, so they're so I think the way the playoffs are working this year is it's going to be, I think the top 4 teams from every division make it. So it'll be like a 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. So I mean, right now we can like almost project who it's going to be. Well, I mean, it's going to come down to the wire. So it looks like it's going to be Arizona and St. Louis kind of fighting for that 4th spot. So if the Avs finish first, obviously they'd love to play Arizona in the first round again, like they did last year. I think they'll win that one. That'll be pretty easy, but St. Louis is coming in hot. So, I mean, this will, tonight's game and, the next few games they play St. Louis is going to be kind of a key indicator of, how legit this St. Louis team is going to be. And they tend to do this every single season where St. Louis will really get hot, right when it matters, right? In like the last month of the playoffs. And that's what's happening right now. So they're one of the better teams in the NHL of late. And well, I guess no, they haven't been that great, but they have been hot, and they've climbed their way back up into the standings, and they're kind of fighting for that 4th spot. But I don't know if I want the Avalanche to play them. So I guess Arizona would probably be my pick there. That is if the Avalanche do finish first place, I think they'll probably play Arizona.
Sure.
If not, I mean, it's going to be tough. Like either way, you're not playing Vegas in the first round, but I mean, there's a chance to play either Minnesota, Arizona, or St. Louis, and all have kind of presented their own troubles at times for the Avalanche this season. And playoff hockey is a whole different animal, so you can't count anybody out. And Minnesota in particular has been surprisingly really good this year. So that'd be an interesting first round matchup, and it'd be a fun one too. You got Dubnyk on the bench potentially, and you have that whole kind of like rivalry there, and dating all the way back to what happened in the 2014 season when the Avs were up 3-2, in the first round of the playoffs against Minnesota, and then blew it at home and lost in Game 7, and Avs fans have hated them ever since. So that'd be a fun little first round rematch.
Yeah, I agree. I think Arizona would be a good first round opponent for the Avs. I think that would be, with as much back and forth as the Avs have had with Arizona this season, it would be interesting in a lot of facets, I think. Yeah. So anyway, next question. We've got a few more. Let's see. Gil Manklang at GIL_MANECLANG. Two-part question rather. Most underrated Avs player of all time, and 2, is a hot dog a sandwich? Oh, I'm going to let you field this one first.
Man, most underrated Avs player of all time.
I know, it's a tough one.
So I don't know about like of all time, but I'm going to say like within the last like 5 years that I've really, been paying attention to the Avalanche. So I can't really comment on anything that happened before then. But, I want to say, like, honestly, like, Matt Nieto would be a guy that I think deserved a little more respect, or even, like, was it Gabriel Bork? I think it was,
yeah, Gabe Bork.
Yeah, he was good. I almost want to say, like, Sven Andrighetto back in the day in like 2017, 2018, whenever he played. But right now, I mean, as president of his fan club, I think Logan O'Connor is the most underrated player. Final answer.
I'm going to final answer. All right. We put that in, and we find that is an acceptable answer. Yes. All of those answers are acceptable. I'm going to go with goaltending. I'm going to say, I'm going to say Craig Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, because, I think low key, he gets a lot of respect and a lot of, reverence in Av circles. But yeah, I think that, considering that he was one goal away from the Stanley Cup Finals when Ottawa played Pittsburgh, not even a few seasons ago. Yeah, I think he's one offensive push and goal away from a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. I think, Craig Anderson would be up there for me. So
now the tougher question.
Yeah.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, yes. Well, you're answering that first.
Okay. I'm going to go with, no, a hot dog is a hot dog. It's not a sandwich. To me, a sandwich, this sounds kind of weird, this rationale, and this line of thinking, I guess. But I think a sandwich needs to be comprised of, like, two separate pieces of bread that are, sandwiched with things inside. A hot dog bun is connected. So to me, it's a different entity altogether. But that's like kind of my rationale, my line of thinking. Like, if you look at like every single sandwich that's ever been made, they all have separate pieces of bread. You look at like a hamburger, like a hot dog, and the whole kind of point is, to me, I would say, whoa, okay, this is kind of like brain blast. I'm going to say a hot dog's a wrap. I think it's like, it's something that's enclosed in something else, like a tortilla or a hot dog bun. So I'm going to fire back, Gil, and say, I think a hot dog is a wrap. It's not a sandwich.
Interesting.
But a hamburger is a sandwich because it's two separate pieces of bread.
Correct. You would think, and by your rationale, you would think that a sub sandwich from like Subway or Quiznos or one of the many, Taste of Philly, one of my favorite.
I guess touche. I didn't even think about that. I guess, yeah.
See?
Like so a Philly cheesesteak is
Philly cheesesteak. Yes.
Why did you have to? Damn you.
Damn you and your logic.
I was feeling so good about that. Well, fine. And I'm going to stick with my wrap theory.
Like, okay. No, that's... I play devil's advocate there to say that I don't think a hot dog's a sandwich. This is actually kind of part... Oddly enough, the Indie Fuel, which I just covered, this is kind of part of their identity on social media. Because 2 or 3 years ago, they put this out there, and now it's a part of their brand. That they stick to their guns and say a hot dog is a sandwich. So oddly enough, great timing, Gil. But I do not think that a hot dog is a sandwich. A hot dog is a hot dog because, a sandwich traditionally, you've got the two pieces that fold in. Oh, as I bump my mic stand here, they fold in on each other, whether they're two pieces of bread or connected. But a hot dog is, face up. So it's not even an open face sandwich. Okay. Yeah, but it's face up. So, I mean, if that's my logic that a hot dog is a hot dog, I do like where you're going with that wrap philosophy, though. I like what
you're saying, though, is like that it faces up, though, because like even with my line of thinking about it being, enclosed or whatever, even like a sandwich still, like, it's connected, like the bread's connected there, but also like you eat it, this way and not like open face like you would, a hot dog. So, okay. I'm glad we're on the same page, at least, whatever our rationale is. I'm glad we understand that a hot dog is a hot dog. So.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, a couple more, one question and one statement from Kristen Heger. Forgive me if I mispronounce your last name there, Christine, not Kristen. I did mispronounce your first name, so I apologize for that. Christine said, I am so mad. I had a great question last week and can't think of it now. I may just have to send it if I ever remember. Well,
please do.
Yes.
DMs are open, Christine.
DMs are open. You can
cover it
always
next
chime
week.
in on Wednesday or Thursday or Tuesday, whenever we record. We'll keep you guys posted. But yes, Christine, always DMs are open too. Yeah, feel free to DM Scott or myself or Front Range Hockey, and we'll get it answered. So yeah, you don't have to wait till next week. Last question, though. Joseph Wills, our good friend from Full Press Hockey, the Carolina Hurricanes correspondent over there, who has followed the Avs for a very long time at hockey_jerseys. Does Newhook get a game with the Avs before the postseason?
No. I think I've said it a couple times before. I think it's a little bit too late in the game. And This is not the time of year to mess around. Like, look, like I was kind of shocked this kid got, I guess went pro. Based on the season that he had. Like, obviously he's a great player, very talented player, but he missed a good chunk of the season to an injury. And, the Avs don't need a guy like Alex Newhook in the pro system quite yet. So I was kind of fully expecting him to go back to Boston College for another year. But, obviously made the move, and the Avs decided he was ready to go. But that said, I think he still only played, like a dozen games in college and 2 games for the Eagles now. So, yeah, I wouldn't throw him. I'd be cautious to kind of just throw him to the postseason Wolves, if you will. And I don't think they will. They don't really need to at the moment. And yeah, I don't think so. I think we give him, the 12 games, whatever it is in the AHL, and let him get a full training camp with the Avalanche next season. And I think he absolutely makes the team next year for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And to let him season a little bit in the AHL with the Colorado Eagles. I mean, again, you have so many choices. You are spoiled for riches. Why not just let him, play professionally the AHL again? This is a talking point that Sean and I had on the Calder Farmstead about the New York Rangers and Hartford Wolfpack system. Why not give Capo Caco some time down with the Hartford Wolfpack so he can play top line minutes there and, get used to the system and everything like that, instead of giving him garbage minutes in the NHL? And it's like, give him some wings, let him fly a little bit. And it's the same with, Sampo Ranta and, and Nate Clerman. Why not? I mean, Clerman could, he could after a year or two with the Eagles, he could maybe be, a defensive option for the Avalanche. But right now he's a good defensive option for the Eagles because, the Eagles obviously have a lot of defensemen with taxi squad, up with the taxi squad rather, or, having to go up like Jacob McDonald did or Connor Timmins. So it's like, yeah, to give Clerman that time too is a benefit as well. Any other questions? I don't see any here on the list.
No, I mean, we answered Lance Uppercut at Jeffrey Owl, whatever it is. We kind of answered him. That's the one I alluded to earlier about who's the best fighter on the app system right now. And yeah, I would say Liam O'Brien, but he asks again, who will drop the mitts in the playoffs if needed against Vegas. And that's the thing. It's like, who knows if Liam O'Brien, I don't expect Liam O'Brien to be, playing in the playoffs for the Avalanche. So as far as active roster guys, like there's really not that many options. So that's my biggest complaint, about this Avalanche team and their postseason hopes and dreams, is the fact that they're kind of missing that piece that, like he alluded to, Vegas has, and like Brian Reeves and Mark Stone, and they have some big boys who are not afraid to push people around, and that's the reason why they play so successfully, because they don't take any gruff from anybody. And
right,
the Avalanche maybe are at times, maybe a bit too soft for lack of a better word. I guess they're a very talented and skilled team, but that only takes you so far in the postseason, and we'll see what happens. So
that in mind, I wouldn't mind seeing Liam O'Brien on that fourth line in the postseason.
Totally. No, I agree.
My opinion. Yeah,
absolutely.
So we'll see if it happens. Well, hey, it is 6:05 p.m. So the game has started, or at least
perfect timing.
Yes, we need to wrap it up. So let me say thanks for tuning in to Front Range Hockey, episode number 15. Don't forget to follow our show on pretty well any major podcast platform: Google, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on it. And please give our Twitter account a follow, as you can see our handle scrolling below. If you are watching on the YouTubes, either live or in archival form. And if you're not and you're listening just the audio, it's at Front RNG Hockey. And that's our Twitter handle. So Scott, I know you've said it before and you'll say it 1,000 times more, but the people want to know, where can they find your work?
Oh, you can find me everywhere. No, ColoradoHockeyNow.com is where I post all my work alongside Adrian Dater. Posting a lot. We post. I don't want to toot our own horn, but more than any other, Avalanche outlet. So we're pretty proud of that, and it's a screaming good deal. And if you text one of us, I can get you a discount code, and I think it's $19.99 for the entire year, or like $3 per month if you want to go that route. But that's not a plug, but it is a little bit. But find my work at Colorado Hockey Now. There's free content and also not free content, some premium stuff that you have to pay for, which I just alluded to. But I do post a lot of free stuff and opinions on Twitter, and my Twitter account is @offscottfree. That's @0FF Scott Free. And yeah, I like to have fun on there, and I post quotes and videos and whatnot. So yeah, Twitter's free. You don't have to pay for any of that stuff.
You don't. This app is free, as the kids say these days. So, yes. And last but not least, before we do a final sign off, little quote here. I'll pop up. Durf Zuki says, "Good show. Thanks for entertaining me while I'm driving." I hope you didn't send that while you were driving, Durf. Come on.
Don't text and drive.
Don't text and drive.
But also, thank you. We appreciate it.
we do, and there is a smiley face there, so we will forgive that. But thank you, Durf Zuki. Appreciate it, and thank you for tuning in. And yeah, I'm CC Hawkley. You can find my written work at Full Press Hockey. That's www.fullpresshockey.com. And speaking of which, Front Range Hockey is part of the Full Press Coverage Network and the Full Press Radio Network. You can find us, other great programs, the other, AHL podcasts I host, the Calder Farmstead, a lot of other good hockey and sports podcasts, and sports entertainment. We've got fullpresswrestling.com as well. So check it all out at fullpresscoverage.com. Got the podcast drop-down menu. Boom. It is all there. You can, follow me at, at FPC_AHL if you want to follow the AHL portion of Full Press Hockey. My personal account, though, is at CC Hawk. That's SEESEEHAWK. I'd say 75 to 80% of it is hockey. I do chime in about music and pro wrestling. I'm a pro wrestling fan, so I do chime in about that stuff as well. So, but if you follow me, it's going to be a good hockey follow. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you've heard me on the show. At least I hope you have. But without rambling too much, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, episode 15 in the books. For Scott McDonald, I'm CC Hawkley. And stay colorful, my friends. Bye-bye.
See you.